Laura Lynn from the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Welcome to Weekend Project. We're working on the snowman panel that I did on a live stream not too long ago, and I boarded it up with some of my very favorite blocks, which is usually a half square triangle, and I tried to make it so it was like a bit of a candy cane effect going on. So instead of quilting it up on the long arm, I'm going to quilt it up on my domestic machine with my walking foot. So I've just followed the pattern of what I had going on here with the lines of the block as the half square triangle going sideways here, or on the, sorry, not sideways, but on the diagonal, and I've just followed it with two steps here, and I'm just going to do the same in the other direction. So we're just going to continue on here. You could do a wavy, you can do it straight, you can do whatever you like. I just did a little mark pencil on the panel part, and then a little bit of a chalk or wax pencil on the reds, just so I can be able to see it. So I'm just going to stitch along in a straight line. And the walking foot, if you get one with your machine, is a fantastic option for doing such things, like this little panel here, for doing placemats, table runners, anything like that. Okay, now be sure to press everything nice and flat, and make sure you got your foot on. I put a little bit of a bigger stitch than the 2.4 it had going on in the beginning. I have like it at about a 3.2, and I'm just following with the line. Of course, you can roll things nice and tight. I was trying to look for my little foamy things for the ends of my pins here, but you know, when you tidy up and organize, sometimes you put things in places you just don't remember where you put them. So anyways, we're just gonna be slowly here and hopefully just keep stitching on, stitching on. I'm trying to keep to the white so it doesn't show any of my stitches show up in the green. Okay, I'm just gonna come plug on down. And if you haven't used your walking foot before, this is a great way to use it. Okay. It helps beat through all those layers. And I got two layers of batting going on here in this project. I got that's one there and two. I just wanted to give it some nice fluff. It's going to be a wall hanging. I know it's going to be a wall hanging, but I really wanted to give it a lot of depth and dimension in between those cross hatchings, right? Just trying to stick to the white. Come in a nice straight line. Follow the line that I've stitched. And when I went to pin this, I pinned it from the center out. I laid everything from the center out, and I tried to give my backing at least a few inches on all sides, not on either side, on all sides, to be able to accommodate for shifting, and as you're quilting it gets smaller, those sorts of things, you know, and as fabric shifts and moves. So make sure you're giving yourself enough room for your backing as well as your batting. As you can well tell, this is my main, my batting, and my backing. You can see the layers there clearly to define the spaces that need to be. Okay. And don't shortchange yourself, or you're just going to get yourself frustrated, and that's no fun at all. You can always trim up and use it for another project. But there's nothing worse than coming to the end of a project and finding you were like 1/8 of an inch short or 2 inches short or something like that, because you just didn't cut it wide enough or didn't cut it long enough. Okay, so I'm just working my way from one side to the next, trying to take out my pins as I go, because I may do straight line this time around, but as I go to do the cross hatching side, I may start to do a little bit wavy. As long as I get myself from point A to point B, I think that's really all that matters, right? Okay, so move it over here. And then to give my space, what I did is I measured. I measured from here to here to give me the distance that I was going to need from here to here, okay? So it was nice and even. We want to try and make things nice and even. Okay, we take our pins out as we go. This has been a very fun project. I have loved this panel, and I can't wait to just keep it and hang it up in the quilt shop forevermore. Okay, just going to take some of these out as I go here, the ones that are in the channels. And you don't even have to go beyond this stage of just quilting it in one direction. Okay, I'm just going to do a little flip so I can, just to show you for a second here. Okay, there, that's how it's going on. working way from my middle all the way out to the edges, okay? So now I was trying to flip this to get it so I can get to my centerpiece here to be able to stitch along this line right there. Okay, where's my, oh, geez, almost like I'm swallowing the microphone. Sorry. All right, so I'm just wiggling things under. And just moving it down to the position that's needed. Take that pin out as I come close to it. Some are in between the channels, so I'm not having to worry about them too much. You know, that's a good thing for proper placement, is making sure that you don't have to take them out as you're sewing along. You can take them out at the end. A beautiful deer hanging out with the snowman and the chipmunks and the hare and the rabbit and the birds. It's quite an adorable panel and I love it and I will treasure it forevermore. I don't know what that was. It's probably something I'm gonna need. Now this should come right down in between. I'm trying to make sure we have everything kind of spread out. Right down into that point. Okay. And then before we go in and put the binding on, we can come along and do a nice 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around this whole project. So when we go to do the binding, this is all tacked down nice and even. It's very easy to do the binding, whether it be a flip and stitch or to the back to the front, or the front to the back, whatever you have going on that makes you happy on getting the project done. So if you want to take the hand stitching part, then you stitch it on the front and you flip it to the back, and then that's where you hand stitch it. If you want to just machine stitch it, you stitch it on the back first, the binding, and flip to the front, and then do a nice little decorative stitch all the way around. And that gives you a beautiful binding. Okay, take a few pins out as we go here. Love this panel. So cute and adorable. So cute. And thank you to the fan who gifted it to us. I'm sure I will never know if they were happy with the outcome because it was a mystery how it came here. But I'm very pleased with it and happy with it, and it will be in our family in the Mama Pop Quilt Shop forever. Oh, moving things out of the way here. Now I'm just following the line that I made with my big ruler to keep that line diagonal as I'm going. As you can see here, it's following the nice long line to get down to here. It's following this line to get down to here across the panel. So it's not hard, just use your ruler. You may have to tape sometimes things together or mark on the panel of where you ended off so you can move your ruler over, but you can do it. This is a smaller project. It's like a baby quilt, so. Okay, and then we will move down over here and do the same thing. Take some pins out as we go. Oop, got hooked by my sweater there. Put them in my pin cushion. My beautiful pin cushion, gifted to me by Bella and Grace. Okay. Cute little chipmunk. Sorry to stitch through you, little chipmunk. Okay, keep coming down. I chose white thread to go with this project just because I knew it was going to be in the white mostly, and I didn't want to stitch in green through the panel. So that was my choice. But I mean, and I'm just using a regular sewing, quilting Gutermann polyester thread, and it's going to do just fine for the project I need it for. Okay, just love the walking foot. Considering I have a backing, 2 layers of batting, and this quilt top, or the, the flimsy, as they call it. They call it many things. All right, just move this along. If you have the chance or got quilting gloves over the holidays, fantastic. This is the time to use them for sure. And hopefully it encourages you to try different projects, and maybe even with the hopping foot, the free motion, even maybe some ruler work. Just jump right in. Face it with a grin. You got this. You got to give it a try first. You don't know things until you try it. You don't know. You don't know. Like I know I don't like scrapbooking. I tried it. I don't like it. No, it's not my bag, baby. I like quilting, I like piecing, I like making projects, I like making bags. I've started to get into wallets, but not really complex ones, because there's some really complex wallets out there, let me tell you. So I was a little hesitant on some of those, but I'm willing to get in if I do it, you know, gingerly. It's like dipping a toe in into the cold water. If you kind of work your way up to it, it's not such a big thing. Okay, here. All right, so, I ran out of thread. That's what happened. Oh, and that's probably the one that fell on the floor. All right. Time lapse. A moment. Apologize. I'm sorry for coughing in your ear. Hopefully Pop edited that out. All right. All right, here. Rethread this back up here. Sorry for the delay. I tried to be prepared, but clearly I was not. Happens to the best of us. Okay, listen, don't make me have to get my old lady goggles out just to be able to thread this needle here. We had just fine earlier. Oh, good gravy. I know I put a new needle in, but I didn't think it was a smaller eye. Come on, there we go. Holy bejeebies. Oh, don't get it twisted now. Don't be a Dinkeldorf. No. Okay, all right, now let's go back to where we should have sewn, which we ended off somewhere over. No, we did get that done. Oh, it looks like it stopped right towards the end here. Oh, thank goodness. I was wondering why I didn't notice it. That seemed a little weird. Okay, there we go. We got this, homies. We got this. All right, so moving over. That seems a bit big for that stitch out, so maybe we'll just go from corner to corner here. Across the block. Okay. And then we're going to do one really close to the corner here. This beautiful female cardinal block in there. Isn't that beautiful? Minus the floofs. Minus the floofs. Okay, we love that. Take it all the way up to the other corner. All right, let's take the rest of the pins out so I don't have to worry about them. There should be just a handful here maybe, or not even, just a few. And that is just quilted in one direction. If you wanted to do just the one angle, then this is where you would stop. I'll show you the back first. Okay, so you can see that. If it's just going to be a wall hanging or even a baby quilt, it doesn't really matter. It's got some beautiful lines here, and you can just leave it at that. But if you want a little bit more, you can take it and come across each block and do the same in the opposite direction, or just do some straight lines. You know, that's up to you, completely up to you. I'm trying to figure out what I would like to do here. I think I might like just coming straight along and just section out the panel. I think that's what I'd like. I don't think I want to cross hatch it. Well, one hatchet. Is that even a thing? There we go. I'll make a nice, beautiful, and try and stitch in the ditch as close as possible. You can always slow your machine down if it makes you nervous at this part. And I did see a foot that actually rides right in the center. It kind of has this little wedgy, metal wedge or something, and it sits right in the center, and it helps you to stitch in the ditch. So if that's really something you're really, really interested in, and maybe not the free motion style of it or doing some ruler work, you just probably want to stitch in the ditch, that may be some sort of a foot you can look into for your machine. I think it would be pretty awesome. So I'm just going to come all the way up to the top, okay, and cut threads. And then I'm going to go across the top here and just box in this panel. Really just box it in. Set that border out. There we go. And just keep plugging along. I'm going to try, like I said, try and stitch in the ditch as much as possible. And if you need to slow down, not be such a lead-foot Larry like I am. I know it's a bad habit, man, let me tell you. I'm in the Jeep or the car. It's a lead-foot Larry moment. Just keep chugging along. All I have to say is, why do they have this speedometer so high if they don't want you to get there up? Now down the other side, and then we'll go across the bottom. Now it'll be this cute and adorable snowman panel all stitched out, and I'm so happy. Like I said, I'm going to go around the outside, so when I go put my binding on, I'm not fighting with all these layers. It's not in my way. I'm not trying to get the binding to stay down with it because there's so much fluff. I'm going to stitch right next to it. I'm going to make it behave and calm it down a little bit. And you can do that with a nice big loose base stitch. You don't have to do it with a nice tight stitch that you would piece together or anything like that. This is a bit of a bigger stitch for doing the quilting, but you can choose whatever you like. But I'd go probably to the max of your machine for the base stitch to go around the outside. Okay, the outside edge right along here. Okay, now let's go along the bottom, and then we just have. I think that's it, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's around the bottom. Wow, that was fast. Okay, across the top here of the cardinal. It's in the corner. Now you could have chosen to use just a half square triangle in this corner here. I would have just flipped it. I would have had the white up in the corner and the green down in that one. So it would have been green and white corner and then green corner. In this instance of this project. But I really wanted to incorporate the little bits that actually were on the bottom of this panel and the top of this panel to really help make the snowman stand out a little bit. And the whole house has been sick, so unfortunately I have not gone to the fabric store yet. I know I have fabric here, but I'm looking for something specific to do the binding on the cardinal quilt, the 4-patch cardinal quilt that we did as live streams, and I would like to find something to go with this as well. I thought about doing just a flip, you know, taking that backing, that kind of a tan backing that I used for the world quilt as well. I knew that I'm keeping this, that's why I chose to use a little bit extra, and then flip it up, and then you get a bit of an extra bit of you know, surrounding. So that's completely up to you. All right, so I am going to make this to a very, 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 very big stitch and go all the way to the outside. Because I'm happy. I'm happy with the way it looks. It's a wall hanging. It doesn't need to be stitched to death. Even if it was a baby quilt, this would be fine enough. This would be fine to be able to give it away and not feel it was going to fall apart. Are we good there? Okay, did I move something here? Oh, must have hit something. Something sounded weird there. I'm like, that doesn't sound like my walking foot. So I'm just coming right close I mean, I came too close there. Went past it. Silly. And then that way you can trim it up without having to fear that it's going to flare up on you, or it's not going to give you enough space when you go to cut it. It's going to make it awkward to put your binding on. Because sometimes the backing fabric gets a little tucked under and you get some weird cuts. So this just helps prevent that little bit of a mess. And you get a nice clean binding onto your wall hanging, baby quilt, table runner, placemats, bag, whatever it is you got going on. This actually walking foot was suggested in the project I was doing for the boys' Christmas present, the flannel pillowcases. I'm sorry, I was having a brain fart there. And I should have used it. They were completely and totally correct. It would have helped get through some of those bigger, thicker seams. I clearly wasn't thinking correctly. So thank you very much for your suggestion and your reminder of the walking foot and how it can make such things as that little bit of thick fabric a whole lot easier to work your way through with that walking foot. It just helps. As you can see, the little mechanism, it just kind of chugs along by lifting it up and coming down and making it even pressure to get all the quilt around, to stitch it all the way around. Nice and even, going through all those layers. Because that's a lot. That's, 2 layers plus in some areas where we got crossover and stuff like that, you're working on five, maybe even 6 layers. So that's a lot for a machine to go through. Okay, we're just gonna keep going here. And then we'll give it a little trim and then I'll show you this quick little project. And it doesn't take too long. You put the borders on, spend another half hour, an hour quilting it up on their machine. And I think if you focused on it, you get one Christmas gift done per month. Make it a 1 weekend project like this. Finish up one of your UFOs or grab a panel that's on sale, do it up for a friend, and by the time December comes along, you got 12 gifts for 12 people. So think about it. We're going to do that every month. We're going to have a plan so you can gift away to somebody for Christmas. I think that's half the battle with us. We forget and we just keep working at certain things, and then we almost forget about some people. So there we go. Isn't that pretty? That looks lovely. All right, so now we're going to just trim it up. Find my rotary cutter. What did I do with it? Oh, I did tuck it over here. And my big ruler. And I'm just going to trim it up. So I'm riding the ruler. The ruler's going to ride along the outside edge of the fabric, but making sure when I come up to these corners to make sure when I'm squaring it, I'm getting a nice even corner, okay? So when it goes on to the other side, I want to make sure we're nice and even, okay? All right, there we go. Then just shift it down. Nice even pressure, okay, all the way from top to bottom. And just flip it up. Hopefully you have a big enough space to work in. Sometimes you can use the public library, you can use the church, their workspace in the bottom. You can just ask. I'm sure there's, or even ask a neighbor's. I've used my neighbor's kitchen floor before. She laughed at me when I said, "Can I come over and use your kitchen floor?" She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm pinning a queen size quilt and I've got no space to do it in. You got hardwood floor. I mean, not hardwood floor, or a tile floor. So I didn't have to worry about gouging the floor to hurt it, or not to hurt the floor, but you know what I mean, to damage the floor." So, and she said, she laughed and she said, "Yeah, come on over." Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I know space is critical, and I have taken over part of our living room and dining room, and we hope to claim it back at one point in time, but for now it is, it is what it is. All right, there we go. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I think a nice red border, or not red border, but red binding. What do you think of that? And a nice little tan on the back, kind of matches the deer. I was hoping to match the deer and the rabbit, or the hare, sorry. And, no, actually that is the rabbit, and the chipmunk. So I was hoping it would match there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching, liking, and subscribing. We really, really appreciate it here at the Mama Pop Quilt Shop. And we'll see you on our next video. Okay? Take care. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye. We'll see you tomorrow on the live stream, Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.